And that's another reason why I'm excited about AI, is because I believe it's the great equalizer. I think it's going to give the lesser, I wouldn't say lesser fortunate, but the people who don't have, right? So there's the haves and the not haves, and the gap is getting wider. Like you said, the prices are getting higher, wages are getting lower. So there is that divide getting even bigger. But I think AI is going to
Mm-hmm.
bring that closer together, and I think that's what the pushback is. I think these companies are seeing that a lot of smaller people, just to go back to the example that you gave earlier, is the person that literally developed their own, cure for the disease of the dog. Like, somebody was able to do that now, whereas before, like, you had to depend on the veterinarians and the scientists that develop these kind of medications to save your dog, and then you would have to pay for that. Like, you would have to literally probably go into debt to save your dog. Like, I know a lot of people that have done that, and a lot of people that will be able, like would be willing to do that for their children, their actual human children. Like, I'm not going to let my kid die, so I'm going to go into $100,000 debt for them to get the treatment that they need. So I think now that that's becoming a little bit more decentralized, I think the trend that I'm seeing is that we're going to get to the point where all of that will be decentralized. I think the people in power are afraid. I think the people that are raising the prices and have that mentality of like, fuck you, I want to get a Maserati. I don't care if you can't afford to live here. I think those people are going to have to look in the mirror and be like, why am I that way?
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be a huge reckoning, and
Yeah.
the people who have are going to have to realize that everyone is entitled to have.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the great equalizer, that's happening now. It's happening
Mm-hmm.
now, and I think these AI models are enabling that to happen faster.
Speaking of just like the progress of humanity, just because I know we wanted to touch on this subject, but I wanted to wrap this into the next subject, like the Artemis going to the moon. And I know I've mentioned it already, but I wanted to mention this. This whole concept of being able to go to the moon. There's a lot of people. There's a big divide, right? Of people
Hmm.
being like, well, there's people starving on Earth. Why are we trying to go to the moon? I was like, no, I understand where you're coming from. I understand where you're coming from. I think that progress requires something like that. We have to shoot for going to the moon to be able to study the moon, to be able to do more things like the idea that like we can send people to the sky through, whatever Musk's company is, to be able to just look at space and then come right back down. These concepts come from this idea that like if we want to progress in our technology, if we want to progress in our worldview and what we want to be able to do and what the hope for the future is, we have to think bigger. And it's hard for companies to do that because they're just so stuck in their own brain. They only care about themselves. I work in a restaurant where people come in and they're so awful because they literally cannot see outside of their bubble. Like
Yes.
in their worldview, it's right here. They don't see, and I can tell you a million examples, but my favorite example
Hmm.
is going up to a table. So like, the table is almost done. The server is leaving, so they get cut. They don't tell the table that they're leaving. They just hand over the table and say, hey, all they need to do is get their check. As soon as I drop off the check, they look at me and they're like, thank you so much for everything. This has been you have been so great, such a great server, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, ma'am, I wasn't your server at all. In fact, I don't remember what you look like because this is the first time I'm seeing you. Are you kidding me? It is insane to me.
It's
But
wild.
that's the wild thing about, these people with money. And I think that, you know, considering our ability to sort of say fuck you on that and say, not the Elon Musk company, because that is a big fuck you to us, but like
That's a
the
whole
idea
nother,
that,
yeah.
yeah, but the idea that we can take this sort of concept and say, like, no, what is most important is for us to continue to progress. The it sucks that there is such a terrible administration right now because we can't see a good future, especially with the last 8, 10 years or so, when,
Hmm.
between the struggles of, you know, having one president, the cap of the president, the current president, with just Biden in the middle is crazy, right? Because you're talking 8 years. So, we haven't reached that eighth year for this
Hmm.
second half, but we're talking 8 years plus two. So now it's 10 years of progress that's been slowed down. You know what I mean? And it's like, So it's hard for people to encapsulate that, to think about that. But I agree with you. I think that there's going to come a time when the desire and the desperation to surpass what the millionaires are expecting or what the millionaires want to do is going to be so rough that they're going to come back down and the losing profits and losing their power. And they're going to have to think like, damn, what did I do